Greetings, it is I. Welcome to the world of the juice. Hey, I kind of got a rant that's kind of going. So I was a poet for a long time and I did all this these sweet poems and then sometimes I'd get into these rants and I was like, I'm not really getting the vibe. I'd go to these poetry places and readings, and some of them were slamming it and, like hitting it hard. And I was like, just like kind of playing it, kind of like, I'm just going to be in the back of the space, right? Just acknowledging all that goodness. But ranting is not a problem, I don't think so. So if you like, feel like you need to rant for a little bit, I think it's a great discovery of what you could do different. And the ranting could just be kind of like something kind of funky or something that's going down, and you're just like sitting there and you're just like somebody else is telling you. So with this conversation, this is really about this is the truth. Okay, hello world, we're going to start all over. Okay. So when we really look at the aspirations or the things that we're creating in our field, then we start noticing that we're getting feedback that it's not working. Have you thought about doing something different? Have you considered to try a different modality, or maybe just go do something different? But it's like so weird, like when you're in this vision and you have what you're working with, and it's sometimes things can happen really, really quick. But I notice from my own juicy self in my lifetime is that when I went too quick with things, it got kind of messy. When things go super, super fast, that it gets kind of messy. I won't even get into the details. That may be another video. But when we're really looking at what we're creating in our field, and then we get a pushback from somebody like, no, that's not going to work. I think you should do this. I think that might work for you. And this might, be what you're working with. So we're getting a lot of that kind of pushback. And I'm actually getting it in my own field of aliveness, is that just some things that are kind of coming in. And it's so funny because when we really look at what we're creating and what we're aspiring to do, is we have opportunities to just, I don't know, you kind of have to, like, if somebody's like kind of coming to you and saying something like, well, you could do this or that or just that, or like, or stop doing it or whatever, is that you kind of got to lean in. I'm going to lean in here. We kind of lean in to our own sense of our spiritual nature, or possibly some of the stuff that we're working with, me, you, and the cat down the street. We might be actually unfolding some beautiful systems that are part of our life purpose. And that life purpose might be something that is beginning to really become more known and more understood for most people. And even with this idea about this rant, it's my rant. It's like- but sometimes, you got some like your besties, and then your besties are like saying, I think you should do something different. So, or there's maybe something better for you or something like that. But and I like it too when people give some guidance where it's positive, but when the conversation goes into a little bit of a dippity doo-dah, right? And because it's people like think, well, I'm helping you. I want you to know that I'm helping you. And then you're like looking, and then I'm looking at them like, that's not the vision that I have. That's not the vision I have, but I'm kind of quietly just kind of observing what they're saying. So, with whatever you're creating right now, and whatever it is that you are really inspired to do, and you might notice there might be some people that might say, well, maybe you should get a day job. So, I'm just kidding. Or maybe you should just do something different. It's really powerful when you stand in a truth with another person who is assisting you or guiding you. But then we have to really look at our divine purpose. And divine purpose is kind of like a double-edged sword. In one level, it might take a years in the making to really kind of really, tune into that which we are working with our divine purpose. But I would have to say too, when we start looking at our lessons in this lifetime, the life lessons, nobody wants lessons. We have to have lessons, right? We wouldn't be here unless we had lessons. So the more lessons we get, the more time we've got here, right? So the lessons continue to unfold for us. But all of those lessons might be kind of part of that gorgeous field of aliveness with what your purpose is actually sending you to. So all these lessons and all these paths and all of these things, or even all these comments and chitter chatter from people like, oh, that person and that person, it's like, really, when we look at it, I think, is that when we look at it in a deeper way, is that a lot of the energies that we're working with, that we're creating something new in our field. Again, it's not new because we've been doing it since we were born, right? So our life purpose and our lesson has been in some sense of flow this whole time for us. So, so what are you creating in your field? And who are the people that support you and love you no matter what? They just see a vision for you. They feel that vision, they can already kind of sense the vision that you're seeking. Who are these people? And maybe it's one or two or 10 people that are really, really, on your side, right? And really propelling you as you're moving forward and going into a whole new, different vibration. And so, with that, it's like, who is that? Who are those people? Maybe you've got one, two, three, or maybe 10 or 20. Usually it might be on one hand, right? Might be just a few people that really understand what you're wanting to create in your field. And you might identify those people and ask them, I would love to have a conversation and share some things that are really powerful for me. And I would love for you to affirm, or I would love to hear some of the feedback that you may have for me. And I know that when we do that, we get that really positive feedback. Okay. And so, with that ranting at the very beginning, is that these are opportunities to really, if you've got a vision that you have and it hasn't quite fruited yet, just stand in your truth. Somebody might be saying, well, this or that or whatever, but stand in that truth. If you have a true vision, and it might be your divine purpose in this lifetime, is that whatever the chitter chatter is going, is that you continue to move forward with the path that you believe, right? And it could possibly be your divine purpose. Is we really want you to really be okay with any feedback or any chatter that's not relating specifically for your goals and whatever aspirations you have. And so, with that, I'd like to also suggest and kind of bring in a little bit of an activation with some of the energies that are moving about so powerfully right now. So when we really look at whatever you're creating and your friends are creating as well, is we want to have that sense of love of self, beginning with that sense of love, and that sense of that feeling that it's all coming in, the energies are coming in. And you know that you're already doing all the actions of the effective action, you're doing all of these strategies, and you're kind of moving around with what you're creating in your field, and it's working for you. And so as you continue to do that, you might start noticing. You might start noticing that as you're working with these energies, and maybe you've got other people that are saying whatever, is that you continue to move forward. And even if the moving forward is taking one step, right? Or maybe running, maybe I'm like ready to run. I'm running with it, right? Is it super fun when we kind of look at it and just know that there's going to be people around us that we love, but they're not really into what you're doing or what I'm doing, right? It may be something different. So, but we have to still acknowledge that these are definitely our peeps, right? But then again, there's going to be maybe on one hand here, just a few people that are going to be like, "You go, girl. You go, girl. You go, young man. You just go, go, go." And so that is kind of a really great conversation now, I think, with what we call the ranting, right? Or the poetry, or kind of these visions, or these kind of goals that we're setting, is that it's really important as you're working with the goals that you have been really asking for and seeing it. You've already kind of gone into kind of a whole visionary experience, seeing it going forward. And even for me, with some of the work that I do, that I can go into the Akashic records, and I can start bringing in the future self of Susie. And so with that, we start getting that visionary expression. And even with that, it's like so fun when you start maybe going in and having a meditative experience and kind of stepping into what you're creating. It's super fun because when you start going into the visions and you start getting the images and the impressions, is that you start feeling it. You start feeling, it's like Sankalpa, and it's feeling that it's already done. You feel the emotions, you feel the joy and the pride of what you've created. Really feel that goodness and that sense of, I've done it, right? I've made it. I've made it. I'm really here. And you find that magnificence and that beauty and all of that, that beautifulness that comes through some of that Sankapa energy. And that is basically just a vision. It's kind of a meditative state, or like a vision. And when you do that, it's like, it's not even going to be like, it's not a 2 week or 6 month experience. It might be a little bit longer that you're having that vision. But the more that you focus on that vision of that which you're seeking or what you're aspiring to do or be, is that you start kind of just continually going inward and envisioning what that would look like once that you have your goal achieved. And once you can really continue to see it and feel it, and the main thing is the emotional state, is that you start noticing that I'm kind of walking through the space and I'm feeling really great here. Well, part of my Sankalpa is a beautiful house where I can do more cooking for people and having more group settings at a new place. That's really part of my vision. And I've already walked through the space. I've already felt the space. I've already entertained there, and I've already had beautiful vegetables to cook, and I have a nice kitchen where I can do the cooking, and that I can share some of these beautiful meals. I'm pretty much a vegetarian and slash vegan, right? Is that these are really, really neat things that we can do, especially if people are saying, I don't think it's going to work. Whatever you're creating, that just seems kind of like not going to happen, right? And so, but these are really kind of like pop quizzes. When somebody says, I just don't get it, I don't really get your vision, I don't really know um, what you're talking about, and I don't resonate with it. And it's not that they're being, you know, it's not that they're being negative, it's just they don't have any skin in the game, right? They don't have any skin in the game. And so, with that, just notice what you're noticing. Notice it again, and then really go deeper in noticing what your heart is telling you to do. Your heart, your precious heart, right? Your precious heart knows what's true for you. Okay? We could say it's God or source or any other name that it goes by for you. Is that we can like just feel that energy, that light energy just kind of pounding down so deeply and so embedded in a fertile soil so that things can start growing and expanding and expanding. And when we really look at that Sankapa, is that we want to embrace this life. And again, like we said earlier, is that the whole time you've been here on the planet, you've been working with your divine purpose. You've been going through the lessons that are assisting you as you're creating more new things in your beautiful, vibrant, very, very vibrant consciousness. It's all happening now. And so, with that, I'd like to share a little bit more, but because a lot of times when people are kind of sitting and waiting for some guidance or some assistance, I would have to say that the energies are already present in that person's field. And the key is to step into it. The key is to step into it. Because if you've been really setting your intentions and you know what you want, you're in a sea of goodness that is that frequency. And the key is you're stepping into it right now. So I hope this is helpful for you. It's been helpful for me. So have a great day and namaste.